welcome you all with my love and respects. I have my headquarters in Bangalore, South India. I am born in a place called Thiruvannamalai. It is a pilgrimage center of South India. The world's biggest Shiva temple is there. Shiva is the popular god worshipped by Indians, Hindus. If you heard of Ramana Maharishi, a great enlightened mystic who lived in this South India, he lived there. Any of you have heard about Ramana Maharishi? He lived there. He lived there more than 50 years. It is from his disciples. It is from the disciples of Ramana Maharishi I had the first inspiration to enter into the spiritual life. Just like a casual visitor, along with the family, I went to meet a Swami called Annamalai Swami, disciple of Ramana Maharishi, a close disciple of Ramana Maharishi. To see him, he was teaching. He was talking to the people that we are beyond the pain and suffering, that we are not the body, we are beyond pain and sufferings. No misery touches us. When I heard all these words, I felt excited to give it. How he says that we will not be affected by pain? He says we are beyond pain. I went to the house and took a knife and cut myself to see whether we have pain or not. Still now the mark is there. Of course, I had a terrible pain. Not only the pain, the blows from mother. What have you done? What foolish things you have done? After having a first aid and the basic medical care, I went back to that Swami to complain. What is this? You taught that we don't have pain, and I went and cut myself and I had a terrible pain. Then he said, you have not understood in a proper angle. Please do this meditation, then you will understand. He gave me a small meditation technique. He asked me to find out the source of your thoughts. Find out source of your thoughts. From where thoughts are coming. So, I am too young to do all this meditation. But I was sincerely trying to understand what he says. It took 2 years, continuous practice, or I can say, trying to practice that meditation technique on one evening, which was Buddha Purnima. Buddha Purnima evening, when I was 12, in the evening day, I was sitting just under the hillock and trying to do the meditation. Suddenly, something has happened in my being. I could see all the 360 degree at 1 minute. In 1 second, without opening the eyes, all the 360 degree. It was a strange experience. A very strange spiritual experience. This is a city where I am born. A big Shiva temple. The world's biggest Shiva temple exists there. This is the age I had my first experience. After my first experience, this is Annamalai Swami, the disciple of Ramana Maharishi. This is the age I had been to Himalayas. Okay, you can all have a look. A strange experience. It was around A minute, a complete 360 degree was seen, and I felt that the whole thing is me. I lost the individual body consciousness, but it stayed only for 1 hour. Only for 1 hour I had that experience. Then again I became normal. I felt that this is my body, and I became normal. But the taste or the glimpse, it started pulling me towards the meditation. The thirst started growing. I started having connection or contact with all the spiritual masters who were available nearby. Then on one fine day, I ran away from the house to Himalayas. Himalayas, the people who practice meditation, you can say it's a world's spiritual nerve center. The people who practice meditation, all of them gather there. I ran away to Himalayas to have a master. When I was 17, I ran away to Himalayas. This is the age. Himalayas. More than 9 years of wandering throughout the length and breadth of India, and thousands of kilometers of walking. It is the tradition in India. A sannyasi, a person who wants to become enlightened, will go around the country in search of masters or the meditation. So I wandered the India by walk, length and breadth, spending my time in meditation and tapas. In 2000 January, in Madhya Pradesh, central India, central portion of the India, there's a place called Omkar. In that place, when I was staying and doing the tapasya, the last experience or the mindless state, which we may call enlightenment or energy, bliss, ecstasy, that has happened, which never left me from that day. So, after 2-3 years, again, after the enlightenment, again he started wandering. 1 year ago, people who have been healed or people who are enlightenment, they all gathered around to make a center to spread the meditation. It started in 2003 January in Bangalore, now which has got more than 200 centers around the world. Around the world, we have 200 centers by the grace of the Divine. More than, I can say, 2 million people are touched. Of course, in India, population is too much. 2 million are touched. The meditation has reached thousands and thousands of people. The meditation techniques and the benefit of healing has reached to thousands. By divine grace, I am again second time coming to the States. This is the basic introduction. We will enter into the today's discourse subject. Today we have a subject, a strange subject. Lazy man's guide to enlightenment. That is the subject. A small story from Ramana Maharishi's life. One man came to Ramana Maharshi, a great enlightened master who lived in this place, and he asked, "Sir, what is the way to become enlightened? What is the way to achieve the spiritual knowledge? Can you just tell me what ritual, what technique I should practice? What mantra I should chant? What will be the proper way? What puja I should do?" Puja means the worship I should do. What is the method? What is the way? What is the technique? Bhagavan, the master, replied in one word, just relax. That is the only word he said, just relax. The disciple is so sincere, he left everything, just relaxed in one place, in the outside of one house. He just started relaxing, not for 1 day or 2 days. He just relaxed so totally. More than 20 years he lived in that same place. And the beauty is, when the Bhagavan said, just relax, and when he decided to relax, the moment he became enlightened. The very moment he became enlightened. Bhagavan says, for lazy people there is no need for a guide to become enlightened. For lazy man, there is no need for a guide to become enlightened. There is no need to have a guide to reach the enlightenment. Even in laziness, we are not total. That is the problem. If you know how to be totally lazy, you can simply reach the enlightenment. Even in laziness, we are not total. We are off in everything. When we are off, when we are resting, we are off. When we are doing something in anything, we are only off. We are not total in anything. That is the problem. One king goes to a Zen master and asks, Master, what is Zen? What is meditation? The master says, Zen, it is nothing. When I feel hungry, I eat. When I feel like sleeping, I sleep over. That is what is Zen. Of course, difficult to understand for the logical mind. When I feel like sleeping, I totally rest. When I feel like eating, I totally eat. But what we do, when we eat, except eating, our mind will be there in everything. Just scan our life. When we eat, that is the time for our future. Or you bother about the past. If you eat, your wife or the spouse will be there to give some complaint. This is not there proper, that is not there, this is not happening, that is not happening. Somebody will be there around you to remind you. Except eating, we do everything when we eat. Same way when we sleep. When we sleep, we don't sleep totally. A man who sleeps totally will never have a dream. He can directly fall into the unconsciousness. When you are awake also, you are not totally awake. You have your own session of daydreaming. Continuous daydreaming is going on when you are awake. So naturally, when you lie down, the night dreaming will go on. Daydreaming and night dreaming are very closely related. Daydreaming means a continuously living either in the past or in the future. So as long as you have the daydreaming, you will have the night dreaming. So when you sleep, you don't sleep totally. When you are awake, you are not totally awake. When you eat, you don't eat totally. It is totality which leads to enlightenment. Whatever you do, when you are total, you naturally slip away from the mind means which makes the things off. Sanchala. Sanchala means continuously moving, which makes you continuously move from here to there, there to here, here to there, there to here. Wherever you may be, if you are in the house, you think of office. Once you are in the office, you think of the evening. Once you are back to the house, again you think of the weekend. Once you are enjoying your weekend in the beach, you are thinking of the office work. So wherever you are, wherever your body is, your mind is not. If your body is here, you can be sure your mind is not here. Except here, your mind can be anywhere else. Where we live, we are not total. When we are total, you simply slip from the mind, you reach the level of energy. Whenever you are not total, you move in the horizontal line. When you are total, you just fall vertically into the energy, into the consciousness. It is the totality which makes you slip into the divinity. It is the totality which makes you to feel the divinity. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says in one of his poems, "Oh, so easy, the self-realization is so easy, the self-knowledge is so easy. To have money, you need to work. To have name and fame, you need to work. To have relationship, you need to at least give your attention. But to have yourself, you don't need to do anything, just relax." But our mind, logical mind, never accepts it. Any achievement means you need to work according to your logic, according to your conditioning, according to your training. We always have a clear decision. If you have to achieve something, you have to work. That is the law. No. That is the way you are brought up. That is the way you understand. Achieving means working. Anything when you want to achieve, you have to work. With the same attitude, you try to look at the spirituality also. With the same attitude, when you try to look at the spirituality, you miss the whole point of it. You can do something about the work, you can do nothing about the relaxation. When you stop doing, only then relaxation can happen. In the West, I saw many advertisements, the relaxation techniques. So many advertising brochures explaining about the relaxation techniques. I was amazed. How can you do something about relaxation? When you stop doing, only relaxation can happen. You can never do something to fall into sleep. Can you fall asleep? No. You can stop doing everything, then you may fall asleep automatically. You can never do anything about it. You can never fall asleep by your trial or by your active participation or by your work. The same way, relaxation or the knowledge, of course, you need to understand one thing. Whenever you relax from your mind, you fall only in energy, only in knowledge. Relaxation from the mind means it's enlightenment. So whenever you really want to relax from your mind, relax from your being, you can't do anything about it. You need to do only one thing, just relax. The beautiful quotation from Bhagavan, he says, even the work of your mind, the running of your mind is nothing but the work. It's nothing but the movement. Even relax from that, when you relax from even that movement, you will see the reality. You will see what it is. So you'll try to explain few points how you can allow the laziness, a real laziness, to happen to you. You can't do anything about laziness. You can never become lazy. You can never do something to become lazy. Laziness means it has to happen to you. We can understand few points how the real laziness, a total laziness, a utter laziness can happen to us. It is called, they say in the traditional mysticism, the being which has dropped from all the conditionings. It's like an onion. When you peel the onions, all the onion layers, inside you will find nothing. Same way, your being is also totally conditioned. When you drop totally yourself from the conditionings, when you drop yourself from the conditionings, when you really become lazy, when you totally become lazy, physically, mentally and in being level, body, mind and being, in all the three levels, you will see simply you are becoming God or you are enlightened. The word lazy, L-A-Z-Y. From this word lazy, I'll give 4 explanations, or I can say 4 ways of creating a space where laziness can happen. 4 methods to create a space where laziness can happen. You cannot do anything to create laziness. You cannot do anything to relax. You can do only one thing. The way in which you are doing now, the half doing, half sleeping, half relaxing or half eating, those things can be made as a total. When you eat totally, you can sleep totally. When you are awake totally, you can sleep totally. If you really totally work, you can totally rest. When a man works totally, he can rest totally. When you work halfway with half mind, you can't rest full way. So I'll try to split that word laziness and try to give 4 ways to create a space in which laziness can happen to you. The utter laziness, a total laziness can happen to you. First, L, levitating. The technique of levitating. A small story. Once a man has fallen from the 3 floors and he is severely injured. He is lying on the ground. One of his friends came to help him, rushed and asked him, "Did the falling hurt you?" The man replied, No, only the stopping has hurt me, not the falling. By falling I was never hurt, only by being stopped I had been hurt. The same way, in our life also, the falling never hurts, only the stopping hurts. Why it hurts? Because of your weight. It is just your weight which hurts. If you observe the kids falling, how many times they may fall, they will never have the hurt. Because kids have got their own speciality or the special system, I can say inbuilt mechanism, which does not feel heavy. You need to understand 2 things. Weight is different, being heavy is different. Weight is something physical which you can measure. Being heavy is something psychological. You may not be bulky, you may not be obese, but continuously heavy inside. If you feel you are dead, you are dull, you can never levitate. The feeling of levitation leads you to laziness. A man who is utterly lazy will always feel he never walks, he flies. In each one of us, from the age of the infancy, I can say that from the age of 1 or 2, we have the inborn tendency to live in a simple way or to live in a light way. We are actually light. When we are born, we are growing, we are actually light. We are actually the light beings. Only in course of conditioning, in course of bringing up, the way in which we are growing, we become heavy, solid. Our beings became dead. So when you know how to drop the deadness, how to throw the deadness again, when you can become simple, when you start again levitating, there are 2 things: gravity and levitation. Gravity means being pulled, levitation means being pushed. If your mind continuously thinks, naturally you will feel you are just being pulled. Many people come and tell me, Swamiji, when I sit and meditate, I feel as if I am flying. Sometimes I even open my eyes and see whether I am touching the ceiling or not. Whenever your mind is relaxed, whenever the number of thoughts gets reduced, whenever the traffic in your mind becomes less, you naturally feel you are levitating. You are flying. Not only that, whenever you are near your close friend, your beloved, or the person whom you love really, you feel you are very light. Whenever you are in a place, the natural places, the natural surroundings, in a place where you feel joyful, again you become light. Again you become light. That is why almost in all the culture, in all the movies, the dream scene, imaginary scene means they will show always the flying idea. Imagination or the dream scene is always associated with the flying. The joy, ecstasy is always associated with flying. Whenever you feel joyful, whenever your mind comes to a calm space, whenever your mind feels ecstatic, you again feel the mood of levitating. You always feel the mood of levitating. If you just understand the idea of levitation, when you think much, whenever you bother too much, you will be just pulled towards the earth. When you are light, when your mind is totally relaxed, when your etheric body, when your mental body is utterly relaxed, when you don't carry any heaviness of the past or the problems of the future on your head, you feel totally light. You feel like levitating. Your walking will not be walking, it will be more like a floating. In Zen, nobody will be ordained as a monk unless they undergo a test. The test is, they should live in a cottage, and the cottage will have the cottage will be surrounded by the grass. It will be totally surrounded by the grass. They have to walk every day on the grass and on the same path, but the grass should not die. If the grass dies, it is considered he is not yet matured. Understand one point? Whenever you walk on the grass dies and path will be created. The path will be created. Whenever a human being walks on the grass, walks on the lawn, whenever human beings walk on the lawn, grass lawn, you will see that always the path will be created. The footprint will be created. If you regularly walk on the lawn, you will see that road will be created. Never think it is created because of your weight. Even if the elephant walks regularly, no path will be created. I have lived in forest. In deep South India, there is a elephant safari place where the elephants live, and where the human beings are taken into the forest to have a show, to have a time to live a time among the wild animals. In that safari, one trained elephant will be taken by a person who trains the elephant. A trained elephant walks on the road, and just next to the elephant, the man also walks. Both of them use the same road for months together. The same road. When I went, I saw when the path in which man has walked, that has become dead. No grass grows. The path on which elephant walks, the grass is there. The elephant also walks on the same road. Man also the same road. The trained elephant and the man who takes care of the elephant, both walk on the same road. But the place in which elephant walks, there is no disturbance. Nature is there as it is. Grass has not died, no road is formed, things are as usual. Road on which the man has walked, both of them walk side by side. He walks holding the ears of the elephant or the trunk of the elephant. The path on which he has walked, I saw very clearly the way is formed. The grass is dead. Never think grass dies because of your weight. It dies because of your health. Otherwise the elephant is much heavier than you. If it is because of weight, elephant is surely more weight. But the path on which the elephant walks, no grass dies. The path in which human beings walk, grass dies. It is never because of weight, it is because of heaviness. The weight in the etheric body. Your aura itself becomes so dull and dead. You are not anymore part of the nature. When you become dull, when you become heavy, you disconnect yourself from the nature. Human is the only animal who disconnected himself from the nature. A small story. One man who is in the middle age, who is in the age of 40. He hates his wife and the wife's cat. He somehow wants to get rid of the cat. Of course, he can't do anything with wife, so at least from the cat he wants to escape. One day he took the cat by his car along with him. He drove the car and he took the cat, dropped the cat away from his house, came back to the house. The minute he came back to the house, he saw the cat is standing. Cat has come back. Cats have got a special power. It's a root by smell. The next day again he took the cat, left it 20 miles away from the house, 20 miles away from the home, came back to the house. In half an hour he heard some sound outside his door. He went and opened the door, he saw the cat is standing. Third day he was totally depressed and he was disturbed. He took the cat, went right, left, this way, that way, traveled some more than 30-40 miles away from his home. Then he saw that he was in the midst of a forest. He felt, yes, this is a place, because I myself will never come to this place. It's a new place even for me. The cat can never come back to the house. So he left the cat. He was driving his way back to the house. On the way, suddenly he got a doubt. Rang up to the wife and asked, "Dear, the cat has come back to the house. Is the cat there?" He said, "Yes, it is already here." The man asked, "Please find out the way from the cat. I have forgotten the way." Human beings are the only people who have gone away from the nature, who don't have a connection with nature. When you become heavy, when your etheric body, mental body becomes heavy, when you start being pulled towards the earth because of your thought, because of your deadness, because of your dullness, because of your gravity, you disconnect yourself from the nature. The same, much heavier than a human being, the elephant, when it walks, nature never feels disturbed. But when you walk, nature feels disturbed and grass dies. It is our energy. Because we are totally disconnected from the nature, it is our energy that just kills the grass. Whenever a man makes the road, whenever a man makes a path by walking on the grass, he is considered, he has not yet become mature to become a monk. When he never creates a road, it means he has become one with the nature. He has no more heaviness inside. You don't have any more solid dullness or dead feeling inside. When he has become simple, when he has become again a child, when he has again reached the state of simplicity and innocence, the lightness, weightlessness, when he starts again floating, he reaches the state of enlightenment or the sannyas. A man who never creates the path where he walks, only is ardent as a monk. I say, understand the concept of levitation. Try to live totally in this moment without heaviness. Our nature is not heavy. You can see the kids. You were also a kid one day, long ago. That is why in almost all the culture, they say once upon a time the life was a golden age, it was beautiful. In all the tradition, Hindus they call it as Satya Yuga. In Buddhism they say the age of Dhamma. In every culture they say at one time, there was a time, ages ago, once upon a time everything was as it should be. Everything was so beautiful. But in reality there was no time. Every one of us have got our memory about our childhood. The individual memory of childhood only makes everyone feel the past was good. The past was beautiful. When you were a child, you were totally light. You didn't have the weight or heaviness. You were almost levitating. You never felt the gravity. You always felt only the levitation. You were just floating on the earth. Never you walked on the earth. So, there is a saying in a great epic of India, whenever you live according to the Dharma, you don't walk on the ground, you float on the ground. There was a great hero in a great epic in India, Mahabharata. The epic is called Mahabharata. The hero is called as Dharma, the man who lived according to righteousness. It says, the man who lived according to righteousness, he always only floated on the earth. He never walked on the earth. His chariot used to fly on the earth. When he started telling a lie, it seems in some situation he told one lie. When he told a lie, the chariot came down to earth. As long as he spoke the truth and lived proper way, he was levitating on the ground. He never walked on the ground. When he told one lie, immediately he started walking on the ground. He just fell on the ground. In your life also, whenever you don't carry heaviness in you, if you know the method or the technique, if you know the simple way of living in a light way, innocent way, like a child, you will see the levitation happens to you. Levitation is the first understanding, first thing which you need to understand. Continuously feel the mood of levitation. Feel the lightness, not the heavy solid deadness. Try to feel continuously light, simple, innocent. You will see the first step for the laziness is taken. Next is Ananda. A for Ananda. By nature, by our own, there is a word called Swarajya, our own kingdom, the self kingdom, our own quality, by the Svabhava, by your own being, by the nature of yourself, you are in ecstasy. It is just your trials, your methods to do something, your desire to do something, because of your aggressiveness, because of your activeness, you see, you always create some suffering. There's a beautiful saying by one of the mystics, never think because of you world is running, in spite of you it is running. We always have the feeling, because of us the world is running. Understand, 50 years ago you were not here. But do you think the world was not running? No, it was perfectly running. 50 years after you are not going to be here. You think the world is going to stop? It is going to perfectly run. So never think because of you world is running, in spite of you God is running. Just in spite of us the whole thing is happening. When you understand, not because of me, in spite of me, you will see the Ananda automatically happens. It is just our aggressiveness. We want to be in front of everything. We want to be there just to pose ourselves, just to present ourselves. It is our attitude to present ourselves in front which disturbs our ananda, or our nature, our bliss. When you are as you are, when you leave the things to happen, instead of swimming, if you know how to float, you will see the ananda simply happens to you. A man can never achieve anything by swimming. Yeah. Small story. One man and his wife, both of them had been to a river to have a picnic, to spend some time. Suddenly, somebody came and reported to the man, "Your wife has fallen in the river. Please go and save her." River is flowing in this way, but this man has started running this way. River is flowing this way, she has fallen into the river, and river is flowing this way, but this man runs in this way. The other people asked, "What? Are you mad? River is flowing this way. Run this way and try to save her." No, you don't know. My wife, even if she falls in the river, she will go only in the anti-way. She will go only in the anti-way. I have lived with her, I know. So even with the life, you know, you never flow with the life. You never allow the life to happen to you. In every moment, in every step, you just want to present yourself. You just want to put yourself. None of us bother about the success. We always bother about ourselves. If you see very deeply, you will understand, in so many places, just for your ego satisfaction, even if you know the decision is wrong, you take the decisions. Many times, even if your wife suggests the right thing, even if your boss suggests the right thing, just to keep your face, just to save your ego, you take the wrong decision. And you have a clear idea, whatever wife says is wrong. Whatever husband says is wrong. Whatever he may say, you have a very clear idea, he is bossing me. Whatever she says, you know very clearly, she is fool. I have seen many people, if wife comes for meditation, husband will never come. If husband comes for meditation first, wife will never come. When wife asks me, if wife comes and asks me, "Swamiji, can I tell my husband about the meditation?" I tell her, never. If you tell, you can be sure he will never come. Tell through somebody else. Then there is a possibility of if he's coming and tasting it. So because we have a very clear decision, we make it clear. She means a fool. He means bossing. In our life, most of the time, you don't let the things to happen as it is. Just to prove your ego, you take even wrong decisions. Not only you take wrong decisions, you support them, you justify them by your logic. Every moment, the bliss or the life or the ananda happens to us. When you want to put your ego front, when you want to put yourself front, when you want to present yourself in a big way, naturally you make the whole thing into mess. You confuse the whole atmosphere. You confuse the relationship. You confuse the very space. So, just take your hand off. Take your head from the problem. Take your head away from the situation. You will see things go much more beautiful way and much more smooth way, much more ecstatic way. Because the world, the existence knows how to run the whole show. It is our ego. Whenever you try to present your ego, whenever you try to be solid, you enter into the troubles. So, allow the ananda to happen to you. You will take the next step. Allow first the levitation to happen to you. Allow the ananda to happen to you. The third thing, zest, the spirit. We always have an idea, spirit is something anti-laziness. But I tell you, only a real lazy man can have a spirit. A man who is full of spirit, only he can be really lazy. We always think laziness means something missing, something negative. We have a very wrong negative connotation for laziness. There is a beautiful saying from J. Krishnamurti. He says, a man who doesn't know how to get depressed can never know how to express. But we have a very anti feeling towards the depression. Depression means something missing or something lacking or something should not happen. But when you do not know how to totally get depressed, you miss one dimension of your life. If you don't have a depression, be very clear, you miss one dimension of your life. If you don't know how to get depressed, I tell you honestly, you can never laugh. A man who can go to his peak, man who can go to his valley, only he can reach the peak. The man who never tasted the valley can never enjoy the peak. How deep you go, only that high you can fly. So, if you know really how to totally be lazy, utter laziness, only then you will see, you will have the zest or the spirit to live, the excitement to live. If you see in the kids, you can see, when they throw the toys, when they throw the things, they totally throw the things out and lie down. They are totally relaxed, utter relaxed. But when they wake up and catch the toys and start playing, nothing else can satisfy them. They want their toys, they want their things, they want everything. If you take away one small toy, they feel as if their life is taken away. They just shout. So much of spirit to live. And not only that, when they look at the world, when they look at the things, you see how alive they are in their eyes. Actually, they live through their eyes. When they look at something, they totally enjoy just by the eyes. So alive, so spirited. And for everything they have some question. They have the inquisitiveness. For anything, they want to know, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is that? They have nothing, no inhibition, no conditioning. They have continuous spirit or the zest to live, to expand, to move further, to expand their boundaries again and again. They don't stop in some point. They just go ahead, ahead. Only when you become adult or so-called adult, only when you think you have become mature, you stop growing. When you think you become mature, in the spirit also you are half, in laziness also you are half. So have the zest to live continuously from the moment you get up from your bed to the moment you go to the bed. Just be alive, bubbling, vibrant. You will see you can have the utter laziness. Yeah, utter laziness can happen to you if you have the zest or the spirit to live, to expand. There is a proverb. Who is real man who knows or who lives in well-being? Health does not mean diseaselessness. Health means not only diseaselessness, a positive well-being also. There is a definition for the well-being. If you get up from your bed, early morning when you get up from your bed, your steps from the bed to the bathroom should not be like a steps, it should be more like a dance. Then you can understand you are well, you are healthy, you are perfectly alright. Your steps from bathroom to bed or bed to the bathroom should be more like a dancing than like a steps. You can see this in life with the kids. They are continuously jumping, moving around. They are just themselves, totally happy. The spirit to live, the spirit to enjoy, The same way you can see, when they relax totally. The spirit to live, the zest, makes you to cross the third step, or makes you to create the third point, to create laziness. Fourth, you. Why? For you. Be as you are. All your trial, all your work, all your movements, all your steps are taken to be like somebody else. You dress up to look like somebody. You yearn to become like somebody. You work to be like somebody. In every step you try to be like somebody. You try to imitate somebody. You try to become like somebody. When you decide, let me be myself, let me be as I am, you create the last space or the last step, last decision to create a real laziness in you. The laziness is enlightenment. The ultimate laziness is nothing but enlightenment. If you create these 4 steps, these are the 4 steps. L for levitating, A for Ananda, Z for zest, and Y for you. Be as you are. In our life, we have respect for everybody else except ourselves. Just sit with yourself for a few minutes alone, without TV or without a magazine, and find out how much you can, how long you are able to sit. Not more than few minutes. You want always something from outside, somebody to give company. Otherwise you say, I am feeling lonely. Loneliness is nothing but the fear to face yourself. That's all. I have seen in India, old people, they have no work. Everything else is settled. All responsibilities are over. From morning till night, they have nothing to do, but they can't keep quiet. They will read the same newspaper from first line to last line. Morning till evening, reading the same newspaper. They would have got married, their sons should have got married, their grandsons should have got married, but they will be reading the matrimonial columns. I have seen, they will be sitting and reading the matrimonial column. They can't sit with themselves. They have to have some outside things. So when you can really drop everything out and be with yourself, you have taken the last decision to be utterly lazy. So laziness is enlightenment. This is the lazy man's guide to enlightenment. So let you understand, let you digest, and let you enjoy this laziness, the real laziness, the ultimate laziness, and enter into the bliss, eternal bliss, Nitya Ananda. Thank you.